Hello and welcome to my HTML tutorial series. In this lesson, this is the lesson number 2 of our HTML tutorial. And in lesson number 1, we actually discussed some of the basic tags of HTML. Now in this lesson, we will jumpstart the development of a page. And in the process, we will understand everything that is coming into our way. Before that, please subscribe my channel and hit the like button. Also try hitting the bell icon as well so that you can get all the latest lessons that I will upload on this channel. I'm also actually making a tutorial for WordPress in Urdu, Hindi and English. So I will give you the links of those tutorials in the video. Now let's jump start HTML. Now here is the design of the website that we are going to make. Let's see. Now it has many elements in it, and we will actually go through all of these. I have removed all the images from this design to avoid copyright issues. So don't worry about the images. These are the things which are visible are basically these blocks are basically the images, and we will actually assume that these are images, because if I would have used proper images, that could cause me copyright issues. So instead of using proper images, I'm using just these colored blocks, and these colored blocks we will treat them as images and try making the website. Now in one of the WordPress tutorials, I told you that the site is divided into different portions. Same concept goes with this, that this design will be divided into different blocks, and we will start developing those blocks one by one. Now, first of all, once the development of the website starts, the first step is to get the design done by a designer. Either you can design a web page by yourself, or you can get it designed by some designer, or sometimes you actually see some site and you like the elements of that site, and you actually start making the design based on that thing that you liked, and in that way the sites can be made easily. Now let's start by seeing what are the blocks available in this design. Now this design basically regarding the website, it has different blocks. For example, this block of the design is called the header block. We will make this block in the header portion. This is called the slider or the banner. Then we have the content portion of the site, where we have different blocks as well. Now we have many blocks, and in the development we will treat each block separately. For example, this is one block, the second one is second block. I mean, the body has many, the content portion of this website has many blocks, and as I told you, these are the images. So now this portion of the website is called the footer. Now let's start by making the header block. Now in the previous lesson, actually we discussed some of the tags, and we actually not discussed all the tags of HTML. That doesn't mean that we are actually going to skip those, but we will discuss those blocks once we will start proper development. And during that development process, as these things will come into play, we will discuss them one by one. Now let's start by this header portion. I'm going to copy this portion from this and pasting it in a new page. Now you can see we have this header separate on a file. Now we will see how many divs are required to make this header. So first of all, let's see, this header has its own outer div that will start from one side and go to the other end. This will be the outer div that we are going to have for the header. Then we will have a logo div in which we will have a logo. Then on this side we have these images. So let me get closer to it. Now one image. So assuming the one div, then second div, then third div, and then fourth div, something like that. Okay, then we will actually have a menu. For menu we will have an outer div, then we will have inside this menu we will have small other divs to represent the text. Okay, here we can see that menu outer div will have a background color, and these divs will have images in them, and this logo div will have the logo image in it. So going to start from this point, I'm going to make this outer div first, and then within this outer div I will make this div and these 4-5 divs. Yes, one thing to make it easier, actually we will have for example we will keep this one a bigger div outside and then some small divs inside it. So the structure will be like this: one big div for logo, other big div on the right side for social icons, and then in that social icons div we will have further divs. Then we'll come under it. Now this will be a navigation or the menu div. Keep in mind this menu div will be within this outer header div, and then we will have the text or the links that will go to the other parts. One thing more that is missing in this image is that unfortunately we have to, this outer div will be actually going, this outer div will be covering the whole width. For example, if the page is of 1200 width or 1300 or 1900 width, this outer div will cover the whole 1920 whatever. So we require a div as well here to bound the text within, and that will be the div that we will use on all the other blocks as well to keep our content within this limit. For example, let's see with it from the design. Now from this design, all these things will go to it to cover its whole width. For example, this if the screen is 1920, so this whole portion will go cover the whole area, but actually the content is only in this portion. So we'll have a div, we'll name it something, but that will bound the content to this area only. For example, this one, the menu is actually not going outside this area. So instead of making that div for each and every block, we will just make one div and we will try using that div on each block to just limit the content to this place only, this portion only. If some text is going outside this block, this can be the fault of the designer, but for us as a developer, we know that all the blocks will be just from left side we have this margin and from right side we have this margin. If anything is going outside that margin, that means this is something wrong from the designer side, not from our side. One more thing, that these margins on the left side and on the right side must be equal. These are the designing basics. So if these are not equal, that means we have to correct them during the development. But these margins must be equal. Now let us start by keeping this structure in mind. Before starting the development, we know that this logo will be an image. This is a regular thing that companies provide the image of their logo. So this will be an image. These 4 social media icons will be images for now. Later on, we will use some other things to replace these with those. Means there is something called font awesome, so we will replace them with font awesome. But for now, these are images. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we have 5 images. So we need to make these. We need to actually separate these 5 images from this big design image. So we will actually zoom in, and we will go for this thing, the rectangular selection tool, and we'll select this logo, and we will click on copy, Control C and Control N for new, and we will come here and we will paste and file, save for web devices, JPEG. If the image is transparent, then we will save it as PNG. If the image is not transparent, we can save it as JPEG. Now one image is made. Now we'll go for these smaller images now. This will be the second image. Copy, new, Control C and Control N. Paste. Twitter and save. Let me make all the images and then I will come back. Okay, now having a final look on this structure. Now let us start the development. We'll go in the Dreamweaver and we'll go for a create new HTML. As we click on this create new HTML, it will give us already slightly made structure where we can give the title of that page, first HTML, and this is the body tag where we will perform all our development. Now let me save it somewhere. Okay, so I am going to save it, and the name must be index.html. The name of the first file of the site is always index.html, so I'm giving it the name index.html. Now I'm going to start the main structure. Now starting with the outer div, this outer div first, this one. So I'm creating one div, and that will be called outer header, or I can call it header, class header. As we have seen in the previous lesson, the class is used to actually give the formatting to this div, and it also actually helps in recognizing the divs separately. So I have made this outer div, and as you know, everything will be within that div, so I have created a lot of space to create other divs within this outer div. Now inside this outer div, we will have an inner div which will actually restrict our content to some specific area, and this inner div will be used in approximately all the blocks. So let us make that div now. The name of the div will be inner, and we are going to use it on all of our blocks of the home page. So now we have two divs. Now see the structure again. Now in the structure, as we can see, within that inner div, we have one div there for logo and the other div for the social icons. So we are going to make these two divs now. Div, and we'll give it classes as well to recognize them easily. So one div for logo and one div for social media. Now within this div we will have the logo image, and within that div we will have 4 images for each social media icon. Now here I have in my folder in which I am making the site, here I have all the images. This is my logo image, and let's start by calling that logo image. The logo image will be within my logo div, so the tag to Display logo will be img src equal to, that's the source address of the image, and as I told you in the last lesson, img tag can be closed like this as well. So I'm going for the name. I will copy the name of the file, copy, and I will write it here within these double quotes. That's it. Now within that social, I will have four images. 1 2 3 4. The process of adding the images, the code for adding the images is same, so I'll not bother about anything. Now I'll tw.jpg. Now it will be tw, that will be fb. The third one is insta. I'm not taking care of the arrangement right now, and G. Now up till this point we are done. I'm going to save it, and let's see in the front end what is visible now. Nothing is visible. We need to actually open this file. Let's open it. Close the previous lesson file, and okay. Now here we have the logo, we have the social images. Now logo on the left side, social images on the right side, and we have an outer div. Now let's see the structure here. Here is our header outer div that will actually go up till the full width 100%. As I told you, if the div automatically covers its 100% space, so no need to give any width or any height to this thing. Then you will come inside inner div, and I'm going to declare a class for it. On the right side, we are actually writing the CSS for this thing. HTML page is a combination of CSS and HTML. HTML is used to give the div structure and the text and other things, and the CSS is used to format those things. So the width of that inner block will be, let's see, here we have this inner block. To check anything on this thing, what we have to do is we have to actually, I will use this selection tool, rectangular. I will start selecting from this point to this point. This G is going outside the limit, which is wrong, I think, from the designer side. So we will actually select it from this point to this point. That will be our final limit. And if something is going out, that means this is not our fault, but designer has not actually made it or calculated these things properly. Copy and new. You'll see Control C for copy and Control N for new, and the width is 1148. So the width of inside div is 1148. We are here, width 1148 px. Okay. Now if we hover over here, we can see 1148 has been given, but it is not in the center. So to make a div, to bring a div into the center, we have a wonderful thing called margin, and we say margin 0 space auto. Now as we give 0 space auto to anything and width is given, in that scenario automatically that div comes in the center of the page. Now this is 1148 and margin 0 auto, and it is in the center, as you can see now. If you hover over that thing, it will show you how it is going to behave. Now this is my classmate. I will actually come here in my HTML. As I told you, the style sheet must be separate, but for now we will use the style inside. This type of style sheet or class writing is called inline CSS. Now we are creating an inline CSS, and I will refresh, and that is actually done. Okay, next thing to do is let's come here, and logo on the left side and social media is on the right side. So I will select this logo div, and I am going to create a class. I'll say class, I have to give some width to this thing, and width may be equal to the width of the image, and the width of the image, as I can see here on this pop-up, width is 224. So I'll give width to this div, that will be 224 px, and that's it. Now you can see the div is 224. Now I will, for the social media, it's also going full width. I need to restrict it to some point, so I'll width 400 px. Now the social media div is also 400 px. Now I want one div on the left side and the other div on the right side. So to do that, I will click on logo and I will say float left. Now this logo div is on the left side, and it has actually gave space for the other objects which were underneath. So it just restricted itself to the left and actually left all the space that was on the right. Now this is what float has done. Float left means just float yourself to the left side. Now this one will say float and right. So in that process, that div has, it's in the right side. Now let me actually place these classes into the file, and then we'll move on. Okay, up till this point we are done. One thing that is missing now is that these icons are not to this right edge. They are actually on the left side of this div, this social div. They are on the left side of the social div, but we want them to be on the right side of this social div. You can see the class name is social, the div name is social. So we want to move it to the right side. So to move something or to keep text or the objects to the right side, we have a property called text align, and that we'll call it right. Now whatever is in the div has been sent to the right side, and the property is text align right. Okay, so up till this point, almost the top portion of the header is made. We have to make the menu portion, this second one, and I think the video is already very big now, so we need to stop right here and we will resume this menu making in the next lesson. Also, what we forgot is these social images needs to be linked to some addresses. Also the logo must have a link on it, so that once we click on logo, we just go to the home page of the website, and on the social media icons we also require the links. So that's what we will do in the next lesson. Thanks for watching. If you have not yet subscribed, please subscribe to my channel, and if you like the content of this video, please like my video as well. Thank you so much. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.